So I'm talking closure from a guy who you dated within kind of 3 to 6 months. It didn't last that long, as opposed to a long relationship that, lasts over a few years. You may need a few closures for that one. But for anything that lasts under a year, can closure do more damage than good? Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Kit, your personal dating coach, and today's video, I want to go through the pros and the cons of closure to find out if it's really worth it. If you are new here, don't forget to like and subscribe. I am here to lead you to your best relationship. Now let's get into the video. The first pro to closure, you might get answers to your questions. You know those burning questions that keep you up at night? Why would you do this? Who was she? When did this happen? And how did it happen? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Is something wrong with me? You can finally get some answers. Now, it might not necessarily make you feel better, but at least you can close the chapter and move on. Another pro, if there's something that you did, you can find out so you don't do it again. Sometimes things end because we mess up. We were too much, or we didn't do enough. We weren't open, or we refused to understand. We have bad emotional habits. We have bad sexual habits. Getting an honest reflection from them can show you where you need to maintain growth in yourself so that you don't make the same mistake with the next person that you're with. The next pro, you can see how you feel once you see them. Sometimes we don't know for sure whether we're ready to move on until we see them again. It's either going to bring back a rush of feelings, or it's just going to be a confirmation of, yeah, this was the right move. Another one, it gives you or him a chance to apologize. Half the time, closure is about apologies. Apologies for how you were with him, apologies for how he was with you, for you kissing his best friend, for him banging yours in revenge. And though this does take a lot of maturity, if you can both be open and honest about where you guys could have done better with each other, then you can leave with your head held high and have a mutual respect for one another. And the last pro on this list, it allows you to know for sure whether it would work or not. When you meet up again with someone for closure, you see them with different eyes than what you're used to. You see them as an individual as opposed to your other half, which means you can look at them very objectively, without the influence of your emotions and your attraction towards them. You can see exactly who they are as a person. Because obviously, the longer you're with someone, the less you see them as an individual separate from you. So seeing them again with fresh eyes, you'll be able to see the qualities that make you think, yeah, this really could have worked, or make you think, what was I thinking? Now let's look at what some of the cons might be. You might get answers to your questions.
Wait, didn't we just say that was a pro?
Oh, it is a pro, but it could be a con too. Not only might you get answers to questions that you really don't need to know, that, aren't actually helpful for you mentally and, your security of yourself, especially if it's just one person's opinion, but you only might get answers to your questions. If you're no longer involved, he doesn't owe you a thing. He doesn't have to answer the questions that you ask him. He doesn't owe you an explanation, and he doesn't owe you any reasoning. Now, I know this can seem very hard to hear, but a lot of the time we can feel very entitled when we've been involved with someone. Yes, you do have the freedom to ask him whatever you want, but he is under no obligation to tell you anything. Then you've gotten yourself all pent up with emotions and energy because you think you're going to finally get the answers to some really important questions you want to ask, and all you're given is a bag of fart. And you can end up feeling worse because not only are you emotionally tender from seeing him again, but you might walk away with even more questions. This next con happens so often. It gives him a chance to charm you again. It's so easy for us to forget how alluring the other person can be. When we see them and meet them and we start talking to them again, it can be really easy to forget in their charismatic presence why things ended in the first place. We can forget how bad the communication was, how it was an emotional roller coaster, how there's such a lack of maturity. Because in the moment of you meeting him again, you're distracted by,
wow, he's looking really gorgeous today. I could really listen to him talk.
He can suck you back in. Next one, why it might not be a great idea. If nothing's changed, you're most likely to be hurt or argue again. Unless you're gonna get back together, which is the opposite of closure, visiting the past is irrelevant. It just makes you upset, or just makes you angry, or just makes you misunderstand. You could end up having a full-blown couples argument in public about something that you guys never agreed upon, and you're not even a couple. What's the point? If you're not both looking to get back together and make it work, then these issues are irrelevant to revisit. This next con, which is the most important one, it stops you from moving on. If you're holding on to closure, i.e. because you need to find out exactly what happened, then you're not open to anything else. A great guy could come to your life, give you an opportunity, and you wouldn't even know it because your mind is too busy thinking, I can't move on until I know this from him, or I know this for him, or I understand this. And if a guy isn't looking to give you that closure that you want, then he has an unearned permanent hold over you. So not only did he not choose to invest in you, but now he's stopping you from investing in anyone else. You owe it to yourself to let this go and find something better for you. Now, some of you may be thinking, why is how long a relationship lasted for make a difference to whether closure is good or not? Because the difference is, the longer you've been with someone and had more time to develop a real love for that person, the more likely it is that they're gonna want to have your best interest at heart, even though things may be ending. The kind of love that maybe you don't want to be with this person, but you generally want them to find happiness. And this kind of love is built up over time. Something that's lasted for less than 6 months, people are only focused on what's best and easier for themselves. Whether that's to find out dirt on someone or to just leave things without notice because you can't be bothered anymore. So all in all, yes, there are definitely some pros into investing and holding on to having closure with someone, but the potential damage of what the cons could do, I'd say it's not worth it. Especially if it means he could give you the emotional runaround for another few months if you allow him to. But what do you think? Do you think closure should almost be mandatory no matter how long you guys were together? Or do you think that the juice is just not worth the squeeze? If you're looking for a guide to spark up your love life, make sure to subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick. Pow.